on this channel.
Hi, Shailaja. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. What about you?
Fabulous. So we'll jump right into our session for today. And my first question, as this series is called Women in Tech, I want to know from you, what does it feel like to be a woman in tech?
So it feels great. I would like to add that I am not only in tech but also on the business side. So I basically manage teams, which consists of engineers, analysts, data scientists, a lot of SQL developers, and so on. So yeah, so I think being on both sides of the spectrum, it's really fantastic.
Absolutely. So now that you've mentioned that you're on both the sides of the spectrum, I'm sure you're aware, and what I have read is that the representation of women in this industry is fairly low as 34%. So what do you feel is the reason, around the skepticism around women in this world of tech?
So I think one of the main reasons is imposter syndrome. So there was a study by HP, and they found out that around men apply for job even if they check only 60% of the qualifications, and women only apply if they are at least 100% qualified. So that is one reason. The second reason is a lack of network also. So for example, only around 2% women received VC funding in 2016, and we have less than 8% as partners at VC funds. VC firms. So basically, this speaks a lot about that there is a lack of a big network which women can rely on. So I think once all these things change, right, women believe in themselves, they have a support group. Then there are a lot of other things like there are family issues because of which around 2/3 women leave tech industry after first 15 years. So if all these things are taken care of, then yes, I think the representation of women in tech will surely increase.
That's actually quite insightful, and the information that you provided, it actually makes sense. So we hear that women are all rounders, and this is basically just another example that we like to be perfectionists, however and wherever. So talking about perfectionists, I know that you have been one of the toppers of your batch. So I'd like for you to elaborate about your background, share some experiences of you as a student, and how or when did you develop an inclination towards this field of technology?
So I think I have always been, I don't know, the nerdy kinds. At the same time, I was also into a lot of extracurriculars. So nobody, none of my friends will know that I am this much inclined into studies and all.
Right.
So okay, you are asking me
about your experiences as a student, and some insights on how and when did you develop an inclination towards this field.
Okay, great. I understood. So, see, when I was in college in Indore, I was very sure that I wanted to be in a managerial or a people management kind of role. Not necessarily tech, but any role which involves mostly people management. And also, I was very drawn towards mathematics as a student. I joined Spandana Spurti in the CEO's office, and there I was in charge of a lot of digital transformation initiatives. I had to lead a team of analysts, which used to provide insights to C-suite. So I had to make sure that the entire team is delivering on time, within budget, and within scope. Mostly that. So that's when I realized that I really like strategy, insights, data. But so I was mostly, as in managerial capacity in that company. After that, I joined Samsung, and there also I had to mostly deal a lot with clients and get softwares designed for them via the team. So my, what should I say, experimentation with technology was going deeper and deeper. And so when I was in Norway during my maternity, I decided to really deep dive. Though I was already handling engineering teams, but I wanted to do, be hands-on to manage my teams better. So that's when I really, deep dive. Then I also founded an community and data analytics mentorship group. So we have around 2,500 members in the data analytics support group and around 5,000 IM alumni in IM communities. So what we did was we helped each other to understand analytics concepts in the analytics group I'm talking about. So, and I got to learn firsthand from people what exactly they were doing in their company. Very hands-on work. So I did that. I was working with two startups in Norway, and I implemented all those learnings there. And then I joined Strides Pharma. So here again, I'm in a managerial capacity, but with a lot more hands-on in my kitty. So that was about my journey.
Wow, that, just because you spoke about the real-time experience, because that is what technology and any kind of field is really all about, learning from real-time experiences and actually being able to apply them. And technology or business is nothing apart from that. So you spoke about, the different alumni and how you connected with them. So how do you think your college and the committees that you were a part of kind of shaped you to be a more employable woman in this industry?
Yeah, so okay, I was a placement committee member in my college. So I have always been very interested in, maintaining relationships, networking. That has been one of my core strengths, I would say. Actually, I even got India's most inspiring women managers award from
Yes,
Inside
we definitely want to talk more about that.
Yeah, and then I was felicitated by the Delhi Chief Minister. So mostly, the awards that I have got have been mostly because of my networking capabilities, I would say. So I never wanted to lose sight of that. So, so actually, this idea was there in my mind since long that I want to connect people from all the IIMs together. But when I was in Norway, so actually I was pregnant and I was searching for jobs. But it is so even though I had a lot of friends and my skills were also good, so I was easily getting calls and I could have converted. The only problem was that they were not remote jobs. And I was pregnant, so I cannot comment on deadlines and all, right? If you are pregnant, so that's not possible. So I was 6 months pregnant actually, which was very advanced stage. So that's why I had to rely on my network to get work. So I got work through my network, and I wanted that others should also be able to get the same. So that was the point when I actually turned what I had always dreamt of into a reality. So I went ahead and first I collected my friends, and then this network literally exploded, and now we are like 5,000 alumni. We also have a lot of educational sessions, by IIM alumni. That is a small part, but yeah, that's also there. There are meetups, and there are so many things. We refer each other for jobs. So yeah, IIM community is one, and then I specifically founded analytics community also.
Oh, wow.
So that was open to everyone actually, not just IIM, but anybody who is an analytics enthusiast, preferably from tier 1 colleges, because we wanted to keep it a small group, a more focused group. So that's how it all began. And I think that has really helped me to get good opportunities to even perform very well in my current job. To build relationships with C-suite level, because right now also I work with CXOs. So I have always worked with CXOs or people who were HNIs or VVIPs. So my network, because of this networking, right, I have really built very good relationships with people at very, very senior levels. And it has really helped me a lot till date. So I would suggest the same to women, reach out to the networks. For example, Melinda Gates has started Pivotal Ventures, which is giving funding to women founders. So there are many such initiatives. There are so many women in tech. There are so many organizations, right, which basically bind women together. So be a part of those groups, or be a part of other alumni community or anything, so that you can build relationships. That's very important. Even if you're in a tech industry, I think after some time you will have to be in a managerial position. It's very difficult for you to grow as only an individual contributor like all your life. You can obviously be a principal engineer, but you will still have to manage teams at some point in time. So it's very important to find a support group for yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think they both totally go hand in hand, and one has to be supported by the other in order to rise further in different spaces of career.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned that, you were a part of the placement committee specifically. So I recently read somewhere that amidst all this, pandemic and everything that is going on, there's also a rising demand for digital talent. And, amongst top information technology companies that are amping up, especially their campus hiring process. So what do you feel is the reason for this sudden tech hiring boom? And how do you think it has changed over the years?
So I think a reason for this tech hiring boom. Okay, see, every industry goes through some cycles. So right now it is tech industry. Maybe in the past it was some other industry, and it will keep changing. Right now, like I work in the pharma sector, so pharma sector has also seen a great boom.
Yes,
So
yes.
this is kind of very cyclical. First of all, secondly, yes, of course, the world is going digital. We are, and mostly, we have seen actually our work has doubled. In all the companies, I talk to people in this analytics space. So actually, we are getting more work. Reason being this pandemic. So we have moved so easily to Paytm. Now we are all going cashless. There are so many. I don't know. E-commerce has seen such a great boom. You would have seen Swiggy has also, Swiggy. Of course, it's not e-commerce, but it's kind of a tech-based platform. It has got so much funding. So
Right.
all these tech enabled, startups, they are doing excellent actually. This healthcare, health tech, and new fields are emerging. Health tech is very, of course, not new, but it is very very much emerging.
Right.
So there are so many players who have come aggregators, and even if you talk to founders, right? If you have a tech backbone, then you are much more likely to receive funding, because I talk to a lot of founders actually. So they say that unless we have a tech backbone, we don't get funding. So all this has escalated, has basically given rise to demand in tech. But I think it will become a skill just like Excel, that you should know basic Power BI, W, SQL, just like Excel, right?
Right.
And also the data, big data, the volume,
Right.
velocity, it has literally grown. So now in Excel you have a limit of, let's say, 65,000 rows. So if you have millions of rows and you have live data coming in, for example, in banks, people are transacting around the world every millisecond. E-commerce. So all these companies, right? The data volume is growing by huge numbers. So you definitely need more tech talent. So these are some of the reasons.
I think, it's very, very understood. And, the way you explained it, I think it has just made it a lot more easier for our audiences to grasp through all these, examples that you gave. So, as you mentioned about analytics and all the companies that you went through, like some of the ones that you mentioned. So, how do you think your journey or, you as a professional have evolved over the years that you've spent? And is there any milestone that you would want to discuss with us? We'd also love to talk about your being identified as the most inspiring woman manager.
Yeah, sure. So all these companies or places that I have worked for, or maybe even the technologies, the people. So definitely it has shaped me. Let's take it. So first of all, with experience, of course, you learn a lot of things, be it in tech or be it anywhere else. Then I have had very diverse experiences across diverse industries. So, in my first company, it was kind of a BFSI and an FMCG both. So I got to see how a financial company works, how they give out loans. Then, of course, the FMCG part of it, because I was leading the FMCG part for that company, like on a pan India level. So I could see the supply chain, what are the problems with the supply chain, the sales, operations, everything. Then when I was in Samsung, I was heading North India territory. So I
Wow.
could easily understand. So in Samsung, my the clientele was literally VVIPs, because every single screen cost at least 1 CR. So the
Wow.
clientele was really, top notch. The Bollywood celebrities, politicians, and only the biggies could actually afford those screens. So I really learned a lot, because you cannot afford any single mistake. when you're dealing with such people. In Spandan also, I was in the MD's office. So again, in MD's office, you cannot make any mistake in numbers. And then, I was, we were raising a lot of money from investors. So we got around $14 million when I was there. We were also, launching an IPO. So I had to be sure that, the numbers that we present, we are basically able to get funding. That was a very critical to the company as such. So yeah, and the MDs, they are very, very particular. If you make any mistake, they can pick it from miles actually. So you cannot make a mistake because the MD was, 30 years in the same company, and I had, let's say, just joined. So she knows the in and out of the company, right?
Yeah, they've already become pro.
Yeah, so that's I'm just saying that if you work with such kind of people, then you literally become very, very polished. Then right now also I work with the CXOs again. I report to the CXO. So again, it's the same thing. If you cannot make any mistake at all. And also because I was in the proximity of MD and CEO mostly, in all the companies I work for. So that's why I was actually able to influence a lot of decisions and a lot of things in the company. I was actually able to bring a lot of change in whatever time span I was there. So yeah, I think it has shaped me up. And technology wise, like I told you, you cannot make any mistake in the numbers. And I am basically leading, reporting teams, analytics teams. So numbers are very important for us. Okay, the data accuracy, whether it's coming correctly or not, all of that, right? So you cannot make any mistakes there actually. So yeah, so that's what I learned, you can say.
More power to you. Oh my God. So do you want to specify any particular milestone that, was absolutely amazing that you always cherish so far?
I would, okay, maybe, so there were a lot of them. So firstly, I was felicitated by the Delhi Chief Minister. That was something I really look up to. I mean, that is something I really, I'm proud of. Then I was recognized as India's most inspiring women managers by Inside IM. Then I'm also recognized in almost all my companies. So I got great heights and everything. I mean, I was one of the person who people looked up to in the company. Then in my college also, I was one of the toppers and placed commerce. So I think I have pretty much, and then I'm of course kind of managing IM community. Of course, I am just a facilitator. It's the people who are doing, who are actually the main power behind it. But yeah, it's really interesting to be in the company of such people. So yes, so I wouldn't really, I don't know. And I have also worked with fantastic people across the globe. Like really, I mean, very powerful people, very talented people, very senior people. So I think because of a combination of tech and business, because I did not want to be, I mean, okay, see, I wanted to, I wanted to use technology to bring the change in the way the companies work. And if you have a combination of both, right, business and technology, then you can actually do far more. That is what I feel personally, because it's not like they should not work in isolation. So mostly what happens, I tell you, business people don't understand technology technical people do not understand business because they don't have the time. They are always building something, but they don't know what is the impact of what they're doing. And see, if you are on both the sides, I think you can bring a lot more change and you can contribute a lot more. That's what I feel. So I feel people should actually, the business people should upskill themselves in tech, and technical people should look outside technology. That, so that's how it should be. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that is very inspiring and something that people should really jot down, because we all, focus on just one direction and try to perfect ourselves there. But actually, in the kind of world that we are today, I think we need to really buck up and have many feathers on our hats to actually succeed and be at a good, successful position in our lives. So very well noted. And since you mentioned that, you were dealing with numbers towards the starting of your career, so you're kind of an expert on both financial analytics as well as strategic planning. So can you elaborate on that a little bit for our audience?
So, okay, just a slight correction there. So, I have mostly been in HR, marketing, operations, supply chain, analytics, and
Wow.
yes,
You
a
did
little bit.
everything.
Yeah. So, no, I mean that is because I work with the CEO's office, right? So I had to
Hmm.
basically we had a centralized function, and we were doing analytics for all the departments. So it was like that. So financial analytics, yes, I have done. I have been a part of budget planning. So basically, and also the incentives, how much incentives should we pay out. So if I'm talking, let's say, only about the financial aspect of it, then what are my costs and what is my sales. So am I as a company, making more money or not? Which are the most profitable SKUs? Okay, then a lot of cash to cash cycles. For example, I pay cash today. When do I get the cash back? That kind of analysis. And which part in the supply chain is taking the maximum time. Like, it could be anything. It could be that delivery is taking so much time. So for example, we found out in one of the companies, I will not name the companies, but let's say we found out in one of the companies that the cycle time was a big pain. Like vendors were supplying very very late to our customers. So actually, if the fan was needed in let's say March, it is coming in some other, like, I don't know, May or June, whatever. So okay, maybe if it is needed in May, June, it is coming in July, August. So it doesn't make any sense, right? So there are so many such problems. Then okay, but once you identify the problem, then you have to obviously change the procedure around it. So I think analytics is very important, no doubt. So firstly, we and also in analytics, I will tell you there are some more problems. So you will make the dashboard, make everything, but people will not adopt it. They will still be using their Excel and MIS and whatnot. So you will have to, you will have to influence people at leadership levels to actually adopt what you make. That is also very important. In managerial roles, the ability to influence is very, very important. Then you should be sure that okay, the data will never be at one place. Okay, so supply chain data is saying something else, this planning data says something else, sales data is saying something else. Actually, all the three data are, it is incongruous data. So you are getting different data points from different places. So basically, bringing it all together in one place, then removing these data inconsistencies. Actually, my team 70% time goes in data cleaning itself, and that is something you cannot, you can't do without it. I mean, you have to do it. So actually, if somebody asks you in an interview, what is the biggest challenge, you can't say data cleaning, because that is something you will have to do in every company. So, so it's very important to understand. So maybe I would say that the priority should be firstly to understand what is the maturity of your organization in terms of, let's say, analytics. Is it at the level that you can introduce very very high level complex things like machine learning and all, or is it at a very basic level that first you at least need to get the data cleaned and in a proper shape, and you need to do basic reporting first, and then you can obviously move on to advanced things. But I don't know, like, people are very fascinated by ML AI, and they literally want to jump into it. But I'll tell you from my experience, not more than 10% of the projects I worked on were related to, even though I'm very, hands-on in it. But actually, most of the work involves only normal Power BI, Tableau, normal SQL, normal Excel also sometimes if the data is very less. So, but yeah, Excel you can automate again, of course, but then you can't automate it to a very great extent because you cannot connect it to database. So yeah, so you need to understand, right, what your company needs. See, mostly business people, whoever I have interacted with, they are only bothered will I be able to get my monthly reports or not. So you should know the problem statement well. Yeah.
I agree. So, because you've done all of this, I want to know right now, like, if you could describe your roles and responsibilities at Strides Pharma as a manager in business analytics.
So I think I have held the similar role in Strides and Spandana. So I'll just club the two. Okay, like, what exactly is the role of an analytics manager? So see, firstly, we need to get requirements from business side. Okay, that is the foremost thing actually. For a manager, it is very important that you get the pipeline ready, right? What do you exactly need? Then you have to prioritize. I have 20 projects, but my team members are, let's say, only 5, and I can only deliver 5 at one time. So I have to literally prioritize, which one we will take first. And the loudest stakeholder is not the most important. That is very critical. Okay, so yeah, that is the truth. And then there are a lot of problems between stakeholders themselves. Let's say if you one stakeholder wants that sales should be increased and the other wants that cost should be reduced, quality problems should not be there, operations time should be reduced. So actually, like both people want completely opposite things. So you understand, HR doesn't want people to be fired, let's say, but the business wants underperformers to be sacked, whatever. I'm just giving you an example. Okay. So there are a lot of conflicting interests. So you need to, get people aligned. You cannot actually, if you're working with very senior people, you cannot make anyone angry because then you will not get work from their department. So you have to be very, very, cautious and diplomatic in handling such relationships. Then once you prioritize, right, then you need to make sure that there is a plan. So which person will do what. So you should know which person is good at what thing. Then sometimes you cannot do everything on your own. For example, let's say I have Tableau resources, like I'm just giving you my example. So I have Tableau resources and I have, let's say, some maybe, I don't know, SQL resources, but I don't have SAP resources. They don't report to me. They report to somebody else. But I need their help because I have to, implement some SAP based tool and I need them to, collaborate with me. But then without direct reporting, they may have good relationships with people, from whom I have to get work done without authority. So that is also a very important skill. Once you have everything in shape, and then I need to take into account their delays. Let's say my team will listen to me, but their team may not, work as per what I say. So I need to be sure that if they're saying it will take 1 month, I can add some buffer also. So something like that. Okay. So once I get the timeline ready, then I need to hold daily Scrum calls. Okay. So for daily Scrum calls, I should know the backlog, what went right, what are we going to do next, something like that. The normal basic questions every day we ask. And, what are the major things we will prioritize. Then you should be able to work well with the product manager. Will tell you what is it that the client wants. Suppose I want to push one feature today, but he is saying that you need to push some other feature. But then most of the times have to work according to the client, right? So that is also very critical. So you should basically you have to take into account everybody. Then what happens? We release one cycle, but the customer says there are so many defects. That can always happen, right? Even after exhaustive testing. So then we need to get those fixed first. What is the severity, criticality of the defect? If we have 20 defects and we can only do, let's say, fix one at one time. So which one should we fix first? So all of that, right? This is the basic type of work, you can say. And what else? Yeah, monthly reports. So there will be a lot of things which are like every month you have to, send out monthly reports. So you have to do it, even if you have no new project. And there are some things which are like for the long term. So there is no such time, but you have to do them some point in time. Then you should be able to get the prototypes from the business team. What exactly do they want? What is the you have to discuss 2B scenarios. So there is as a scenario, there is 2B scenario. So as is this what is happening right now, and 2B is what do you want in the future. So there are multiple rounds. Wireframes you will get from product manager. Wireframe is how the screen should look like. So you need to get it validated from them whether what you have developed and what they want is same. Something like that.
Right. Okay, so that sounds very interesting, and I'm sure it's a lot of learning process for a lot of people who are interested in this field. So now that you mentioned future, what are your future goals in the next 5 years? What do you plan on doing?
So I don't know. I'm not a very big fan of 5 years because now is the age of non-linear career path. So you really don't know where you will be even I think 1 year down the line. But yeah, but if I am still given a chance and I can carve out the way I want, then I would obviously like to be in analytics. So either as an analytics manager or as an analytics consultant or as a product manager. So I don't know. I have kept all my options open actually. So, but yeah, I want to stay in this field in some capacity. and
Right.
obviously rise the career ladder, because I think all these roles are very, very interchangeable actually.
Absolutely.
They are all similar, because I talk to people and they are all doing the same thing, getting things delivered on time and maintaining client relations. So that's what primarily it is all about. So yeah.
Right. That is great. So I'll quickly delve into a couple of live questions also, which are coming in from our viewers. So let's take a few of them. Good. Okay. So the first question is, what are some of the non-technical skills or the soft skills that are invaluable to any analyst?
Yeah, so see, firstly, you should know at least some basics about the business. For example, I'm in pharma. So if I don't understand pharma, then I can't make any sense of what is there on the dashboard. For
True.
example, I am in quality, let's say, the quality of pharma. So defects, are they, if they are increasing, obviously it's a problem, right? If you are getting audit responses on time, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Then the number of audit findings are increasing. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? So you should know. How will you know? Unless you don't know the domain, you can't understand. There's a financial. So there are so many financial ratios. If they're going up, is it bad? Is it good? So it's very important to understand the domain first. Then obviously relationships, and also relationships not just with business but also with your team. So so I think some of the basic empathy and all, and communication skills are very important. If you have to talk to customers, developers, product managers, and so many people, like the CXOs. So you can't talk the same language with everyone. If I talk to my developer and CXO with the same language, it will not work. So you need to know how to communicate to different people.
Right, totally. So I'll move on to the next question. Yes. So this one is, what are some of the tools or softwares do you suggest necessary competencies that an individual must build on to get a job at a good MNC?
So I have interviewed with some companies, and I have found that SQL is something which is always asked. Even if you are applying at a director level, it is still asked. If you are applying as an analyst, definitely the depth of question will be far more. If you are applying as a manager, the complexity will reduce, because you don't require the same skills at an analyst position and a managerial position. You require different skills, but still they will ask you. So you should, I think, be very good with SQL. Even if you're not good, just learn, watch YouTube videos, and I don't know, learn from Google, and just to crack the interview, right? You don't need it in your day-to-day life, to be honest, because there will be people. But to crack interviews, you will need it for sure. So do that. Then our Python. So I personally prefer Python. Okay, but I know both, but I prefer Python because the industry is moving towards Python. So if you can do it, please do it, but it's not as important as SQL. Okay, if you can only do one, then just do SQL. Then the third thing, which is actually far more important than both these, is Tableau, Power BI. I know it's not. It's very easy to learn. Actually, anybody can learn them. But it's very, very important to know, to make good PPTs, and because see, you will, and also to make good dashboards. Actually, most of the work that I've done, I have seen people are only interested in normal dashboards. Nobody is, interested in building machine learning models, and I don't know. That is something which very, very few companies do. It's a very niche field still. Neural networks and all. It's very, very niche. So go to it at the last. And if you still have time, then obviously you can do machine learning, statistics, and whatever. Yeah.
Okay. I hope our audiences are noting all of this down. So the next one is, okay, so we'll take this one. So since you have enough knowledge about various domains, which ones do you think have a lot of scope coming in the future years?
So pharma is definitely booming like anything. I have seen the reason I joined this a pharma company was the pay packages they offered even during the pandemic. They were quite good actually. The reason is that they are making a lot of money, and obviously, so pharma is definitely one sector you should, if you are interested in a good, well-paying job, then yeah, you should go for it. Then e-commerce is the next which is very, very high paying. sector. Then I would also say fintech now. So you see, right, there's so many players in fintech which are
Yes.
Zerodha is, I mean, without any funding also they're doing so excellent. So there are so many players. So you should, I think, target these three mostly. Because FMCG, I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, they're doing good business now, but it's mostly through the, home delivery or e-commerce. It's
Right.
mostly because of if you get everything delivered at home. So yeah, so you should target. So which is again e-commerce. So you should target pharma, e-commerce, and fintech.
Okay, cool. So we'll pick up the last one, which is, so is there any woman in tech that you look up to particularly?
So maybe I don't know. Like Melinda Gates is not really a woman in tech, but she supports a lot of women in tech. Like I told you, Pivotal Ventures, she has started to give funding to the women in tech. So I'm more because see, once you are 7-8 years experience, right, you will move into managerial roles eventually, for sure, almost all. Very few will be principal engineers and only be in like hands-on type of roles. So I personally look up to women who are more leader, who are more leadership material in tech, obviously. So I think I look up to her for the kind of contribution she is doing, for women in tech, and she has also formed a lot of communities for the women in tech. So yeah, I think I look up to her.
Absolutely. I think she has a very dynamic and very wholesome personality to her. So great choice.
Yeah.
So
And she's
yeah, you
and
adding?
and she was already working in Microsoft. She is a techie, but now she is, I think, more on the owning people and
Exactly.
yeah.
Absolutely. So now we're towards the last segment of this session, and the intent is basically to end it on a fun note. So I will be playing a fun word association game with you where I will be mentioning some tech buzzwords of 2021. Some of them you already mentioned. So you just have to tell me what your experience with them has been like, or any word that comes to your mind instantly when you hear them. Cool? So the first word will be Tableau.
So Tableau is one of the best tools. Actually, I work with it very, very extensively. Every single day, I work with Tableau. I think so. It's a must-learn tool.
Okay, please jot down our audience. So second will be supply chain.
So supply chain, I work a lot with, on different supply chain problems. So I think cycle time, throughput, PE. So these are some of the main, critical KPIs that you should read about, once if you're going, let's say you're going for Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, any e-commerce interview, actually 23% of the jobs in e-commerce are in operations and supply chain. And even if you see the analytics division of it, so I think it would be 50%, let's say, sales analytics and 50% operations analytics. I don't have data for this particular point, but it's based on experience. So yeah, it's a very important, and even in pharma, supply chain is very important for us. The drugs have to reach in time because we have a very limited shelf life. So anywhere there is a limited shelf life, you need to have good supply chain. So you should definitely, explore this field.
Okay. So the next one will be Python.
Python is one of the most upcoming languages after SQL, obviously. So Python is very good if you want to, let's say, do machine learning. There's so many libraries which support machine learning, AI in Python, and data wrangling obviously is far better in Python than R. So data wrangling means you will get the data in, let's say, from SQL. Okay, you can connect it to SQL, and then you can also do a lot of data wrangling in Python itself. For example, if you want to use, you can just check Jupyter notebooks. You want to make some reports. So that is far easier, I would say, in Python. Of course, you have SSIS and SQL also, but many people prefer Python.
Okay, cool. So the last one we'll pick up, which is machine learning.
So machine learning is definitely one of the upcoming areas. The thing is that earlier the base itself was very, very less. Okay, there were hardly any people in ML actually, and mostly all of them were statisticians and mathematicians. But now I think the base has increased, though of course the number of jobs in SQL will be far more than the jobs which require machine learning. But since the base has base was very small, percentage increase is very high. At the same time, every job that you apply to, it will say that you should mandatorily be good at SQL. You can be and of course Tableau, Power BI. You can be okay at R and Python, and if you have exposure to machine learning, it's great. So that's the sequence you should follow. And even in real life, that's the sequence that we see most of the times, unless it is predictive modeling, right? Machine learning is good for predictions, not for your regular monthly reports and regular analysis. Yeah, so that's where it is.
Okay, fabulous. So I think we've covered up pretty much everything. Shailaja, I must tell you, this was a very insightful session, and I'm sure our audiences here have gained a lot of valuable information that they're going to be taking back with them. Thank you so much for being on the 4th live session of Women in Tech. I'm sure you have inspired many women to take the high road with your journey and experiences. It was an absolute delight having you here with us.
Thanks a lot. The pleasure is mine, and it was an absolute delight interacting with you, and also some of the live chats that we saw. So yeah, thanks a lot, and hope everybody finds a job they love.
Thank you so much, Shailaja. We wish you all the very best for your future endeavors.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye.
Bye-bye.